A parabola is the set of points in a plane equidistant, okay, and then the definition comes up here, equidistant from a given point and a given line. Now, the given point has a name. It's called the focus. The given line has a name. It's called the directrix. Directrix. D-I-R-E-C-T-R-I-X. So you'll notice in your directions here for the problem, they're asking you to find a bunch of stuff, including the focus and the directrix. Now, unlike with the circle, for all of the rest of the conic sections, I'll be giving you a grid because I think these problems are way easier when we can see what we're talking about. So, first thing we need to do is take a look at this parabola and notice that the equation is different than a circle. What do the circle equations look like? They have an x squared and a y squared. This has either just an x squared or just a y squared. That's what makes it a parabola. In a circle, if you didn't have any pluses or minuses in the problem, where was the center of the circle? At the origin. Same thing here. If there's no adds or subtracts, your vertex is going to be at the origin. So your vertex is going to be at the point 0, 0. Here is probably the most important and also sometimes the hardest thing to remember. Your parabola is either going to be an x squared or a y squared. It will never have both. If it's a parabola, it only has one, either x squared or y squared. The coefficient on the other term, not the squared term, the coefficient on the linear term determines which way your parabola opens. So we have up, down, left, right. Okay? If it is an x squared parabola, it's either up or down. You remember that if the number is positive, it is up. We talked about those before. So x squared positive is up. X squared negative is down. So this parabola is going to open up. So I'm just going to freehand it in for a second. Now you're using pencil, so you can erase that and do a better sketch in a minute. But right now I know that thing is opening up. If it's y squared, it's either going to open left or right. If the coefficient is positive, it opens right. And if the coefficient is negative, it opens left. Your answer is going to be completely hinged, you'll see what I mean here in a little bit, on whether you get that right. Okay? Because the focus is always located inside the parabola on the axis of symmetry. Now, for us, would you all agree that this is my axis of symmetry? That is the equation where x equals 0. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 0. That means that every x on this line is going to be 0, including that one, which is my focus. The focus is always inside the parabola on the axis of symmetry. Now, this distance right here, we call P for some reason. I don't know, Google it, I have no idea, call P. in every equation of a parabola, this coefficient is 4p. Now, right now, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I promise this is going to get really easy for you. We just have to get through a few first examples. So whatever this number is 4p. So if 4p is 8, then p is 2. So I already know from looking at my picture that to get my focus, I'm going to go up 2. So where will I be? What is that point? 0, 2. So my focus is at 0, 2. Because my focus is straight up 2 units from my vertex in this parabola. Now, remember the definition? You're equidistant from the focus and the directrix. So if I went up 2 to get my focus, I'm going to go down 2 to get my directrix. Now, the directrix, remember, is a line. But it's down 2. Anybody want to take a guess? What is the equation of this line? Well, it crosses the y-axis, so it's going to be y equals what? It came down 2, so it's y equals negative 2. That's your directrix. Your directrix is y equals negative 2. Now, your focal width is the width of the parabola through the focus. Now, I will not be grading your picture, so your rough sketch is fine. But if you wanted to do a more accurate sketch, you would simply figure out what your focal width is, and then figure out what those red points are, and you could plot them, and it would be more accurate. But all I care about is, can you tell me what the focal width is? Here's the really good news. That number right there, that's the focal width. So the focal width in this parabola is 8. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you were graphing this accurately, you would start at your focus and go forward 4 and backward 4. And then you would have points that you could connect and get the exact shape of your parabola. But I am not grading any pictures in this unit. I'm going to graph almost everything. You're going to graph almost everything, but all of it is for your own use. I'm not grading your picture. All right, so let's see what you can put together here for this one. Where's the vertex? 0, 0. How do we know? There is nothing added or subtracted. So we are at 0, 0. Which way do I open? This is critical. Which way do I open? I open right. How do I know I open right? Y squared positive. Gotta remember that. That's right. So this guy is looking like this. Your vertex is the origin. Now, since I'm opening to the right, would you agree this is your axis of symmetry? And what is that equation? Y equals 0. Think about which axis does that cross? The y-axis? Where does it cross? At 0. Y equals 0. Your focus is in here somewhere. I don't know where, it's in there somewhere. I know that y has to be 0 for that point. But now I need to figure out how far this is. Now remember, that's p. What do I know? Every time I do a parabola equation, 4p is that number. So if 4p is 12, then p has to be 3. And I'm going to start at my vertex and go forward 3. So where am I going to be? That's the origin. I'm going ahead 3, 3, 0. And if I went forward 3 for my focus, I'm going to go backwards 3 for my directrix. What's the equation of that line? X equals -3, very good. So here's my focus, here's my directrix. Remember, they're equidistant. So as soon as you figure out how to get your focus, you know how to get your directrix in the opposite direction. Now, what's my focal width? Yeah, no one misses this. You're going to memorize that number right there is the focal width, and every time it says, what's the focal width, you're going to say that number. So in terms of these two parabolas, which one's fatter? That one, because his width is 12, which means I would have to go up and down 6. And here I'm only going sideways 4. Alright. Well, let's look at the next one. Good news, every parabola I give you will be in standard form. So you don't need to do any math on it. You just need to answer the question. So we have x minus 3 squared equals to what? Quit yawning. Okay. Vertex, where do you think? Look at it carefully. Just like with the circle, where do you think the vertex is going to be? 3, 0. See the parentheses right there? Dead giveaway, that's a 3. How come it's 0? Because there isn't anything over here. So vertex is a 3, 0. That is your vertex. When we take a quiz, there'll be blanks, and it'll say V, and you will write down 3, 0. Oh, which way is it open? How do you know it opens up? Because it's x squared, and it's a positive number, that is going to be up every time. Here is your axis of symmetry. Remember, that's the fold. If you fold your paper, fold your parabola. What is the equation of that line? X equals 3. You guys, if you're struggling with that, which axis does it cross? Where does it cross? 3. The equation is x equals 3. Now, my focus is somewhere on that line inside the parabola, and there's someplace. How far up do I go this time to get my focus? Remember, this is P, and this number is 4P. So what's P? 1/2. So I'm going to start right here at my vertex, and I'm going to go up 1/2. So what will be this point if I go up 1/2? 3, 1/2. Isn't that point over 3 and up 1/2? Use the graph paper, it should help you. Now, if you went up 1/2 to get your focus, then you're going to go down 1/2 to get your directrix? What will be that line? Remember, you came down a half. What is the equation? Which axis do I cross? Which axis is this? Y. So y equals, how far down did I come? Where's the cross here? Negative 1/2. And finally, what's my focal width? My focal width for this problem is, which means basically this parabola is skinnier, because you're only going 1 each way, since your focal width is just 2. All right, guys, we ought to be starting to get the hang here a little bit. Let's look at this next one. I know it's been a long day for you, and it's raining out, and you're drowsy, but tough. Suck it up. Where's my vertex? Be careful. Be careful. What's added or subtracted? Not multiplied, added or subtracted to the x? Nothing. So my x coordinate's 0, and my y coordinate is -2. So your vertex is at 0, -2. That is your vertex. Most important question, which way do I open? Which way do I open?
Down.
I've heard right, left, and down. It's left. This guy opens to the left. Now, why does he open to the left? Because he is a y squared, and he is a negative coefficient. This number is super important. We use it for 3 things. Tell me which way it opens, tell me what P is, and tell me what the focal width is. All that comes from that number. Okay, now, if that's what it looks like, then this would be my axis of symmetry. It's gotta be an equation. So what is it? Y equals -2, very good. Y equals -2. My focus is always inside my parabola on the axis of symmetry. So I'm just gonna put it in there. Remember, I'm not grading your picture. Get it in there. And now I need to find the coordinates of that point. That's my focus. It is on this line, which automatically means its y is -2. Would you agree with that? So now I need to know, how far do I back up? This is P. What do I know about my equation? 4P is 4. So P is 1. Now I know there's a negative on there. The negative tells me I back up. I ignore it because I already know I'm going to back up. So don't let the negative bother you. Where will this point be then? If I start right here and back up 1. I'm backing up 1. -1, -2. Perfect. Perfect. Diego, need to go to the nurse? Look alive, my friend. You're hurting my self-esteem. All right? Now, if I back up 1 to get the focus, then how will I get my directrix? Right 1. It is a line, so it will be an equation. What will be the equation of this line if I came forward 1 meter? X equals 1. Love it. Perfect. Beautiful. X equals 1. focal width, and then I think we're done. Focal width is 4. Please don't say negative. It is a width. So even though that is a negative 4, the focal width is 4. The negative is a directional thing. Okay? All right, let's look at E. Now they're starting to get a little bit dead, but not hard.
Always.
Focal width is always positive. When you write it down, you always write it positive. All right, so tell me about this. Where is my vertex? Carolyn?
-5, 0.
Be careful. It's definitely -5, but then it's +1. So my vertex is at -5, +1. That is my vertex. Just like a circle. When the stuff's in parentheses, when you take it out, it's negative. Opposite. Everybody okay with that? All right, big decision. Which way do I open?
Down.
It's x squared. Whoa, negative. X squared, negative, is down. Right? So this guy opens down. This is your axis of symmetry. Tell me what that is. It's an equation. X equals -5. Now again, you should not be struggling with that. Draw it on your paper. Which axis does it cross? X, where does it cross it? At -5. That's your equation. X equals -5. Now my focus is somewhere in here. I'm not sure where, I'm just gonna put it in here. My focus is always inside the parabola. To figure out where it is, I'm gonna need to know this, right? P? Well, 4P is 16, so P is 4. That means that I'm gonna start right here at my vertex and go down 4. Where will I be if I start at this point and go straight down 4? I will be at the point -5, -3. Use your graph paper. Put your pencil on the vertex and count down 4 spaces. Now, if we counted down 4 for the focus, then I'll have to go up 4 for my directrix. So count up 4 and tell me the equation of that line. Y equals 5. Evan's got it. He's up here answering every question. Is anybody else getting this? I hope. Use your graph paper. Count up 4 from this point. Now you're where Y is 5. Y. Crossing the Y-axis. Y is 5. What's your focal width? 16. Yep. Those are gimme points. Those are gimmes. A minute ago, I said that probably the biggest decision you have to make is which way your parabola opens. Do you understand why that's the case? If you open your parabola wrong, won't your focus be wrong? Won't your directrix be wrong? Yeah, you gotta get that right. Izzy?
So for that one, the focus, the X was 4.
4. The focus is -5, -3. it's down 4
Oh, okay.
from the vertex. All right, here we go. Noah, where's my vertex?
It's gonna be up 1,
Yep, just give me the coordinates of the where's my vertex?
negative 1, 1.
Negative 1, 1. He is exactly right. Negative 1, 1 is my vertex. Can you look at that equation and see x is negative 1 and y is 1? Now, always your points are x, comma, y. So even though the equation's kind of backwards, you gotta start with this number. That's your x. Negative 1, 1. All right. Ramon, which way do I open? Is he right? Y squared negative is indeed left. Very good, Ramon. Now, because I'm opening that way, my axis of symmetry is right here. Angel, what's the equation of my axis of symmetry? Y equals 1. Very good. We're 3 for 3, folks. We're doing great. Let's keep going. Your focus is inside the parabola on the axis, so it's like right there. In order to figure out what it is, I have to figure out how far back to go, and that distance is P. In my equation, 4P is a half. Would you agree with that? Now you got to figure out what P is. And some of you just don't like fractions. So one option you have is to say, okay, I'm going to times by 2. So 8P is 1. And that makes P 1/8. Or if you want, you can go back to the original thing I had and multiply both sides by 1/4. It doesn't matter. But you got to figure out that P is an 8. Now what does that mean? That means I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to back up an 8. So if I'm already at negative 1, and I'm backing up an 8, where will I be? You can use a mixed number or an improper fraction, whichever you want. It'd be negative 1 1/8. You're at negative 1, backing up another 8, negative 1 1/8, comma 1. That point right there is up 1. It should be that way on your paper. Now, if I came backward an 8 for my focus, then aren't I going to go forward an 8 for my directrix? Now my picture's all wrong drawing, but remember, we're gonna grade the picture. If I go forward an 8, where will I be? Start right here and go forward an 8. That equation will be x equals negative 1 plus an 8, negative 7/8. In my picture doesn't match that, but we don't care. As long as we can figure it out. You're using graph paper, so you got it made this shape. If you go forward an 8, you're right in there, aren't you? What's my focal width? 1/2. So tell me about this parabola. If its focal width is 1/2, it is super skinny. Super skinny. All right. Let's have you try letter G, I'm erasing my cheat sheet up here. Let's have you try letter G with your partner and see how far you can get. Everybody should have a vertex. Where's your vertex? 3, -4. Guys, stop. The vertex has to be at 3, -4. Did everybody get it there? 3, -4. Which way do I open? Left. Why am I left? I'm y squared negative. That's left. If you didn't get this right, fix it. Fix it as we go, because you gotta get the picture right. What is your axis of symmetry? Y equals -4. One more time. Draw it. Which axis does it cross? Which axis is this?
Y.
It crosses Y. If it crosses Y, it's Y equals. My focus is in here.
No,
4P equals 10. So P equals 2.5, 2.5, 5 halves, however you want to think about it. So you're going to start right here at this point, or excuse me, your vertex, and you're going to back up 2.5. Use your graph paper. If you back up 2.5, where are you? 0.5, -4. That's your focus. Now, if you came back 2.5, then you'll go forward 2.5 for your directrix. So start right here, which is at 3, and go ahead 2.5. What's the equation of that line? X equals 5.5, very good. X equals 5.5. We started at 3 and counted forward 2.5. What's your focal width? 10. Positive 10. All right, I need everybody to be participating in this. I'm going to call on different people to give me different stuff, so take a minute and get started on it. First person I call on is going to have to give me the vertex. And I think I will call on Stella.
I got -2, -3.
Stella is exactly right. She got -2, -3. Because your vertex is the opposite of what's in the parentheses, and it's always x, comma, y. She's exactly right. All right? Quigley, which way do I open?
Up.
Yes. Why do I open up? Because I'm x squared and positive. That means up. When I say positive, I mean this number right here is positive. Now, what is my axis of symmetry? Jose,
X equals -2.
exactly. Very good. X equals -2. Now my focus is in here somewhere. Remember, the focus is always inside the parabola on the axis. So, Tyron, to get my focus, I'm going to have to start at my vertex and go up some amount, which we call P. What will that be in this problem?
I went up a half in the focus.
You went up a half, because 4P is that number? And if 4P is 2, then P is a half? So Tyron, where did you end up if you started at the vertex and went up a half?
-2, -2.5.
Wow. You guys are amazing. This is indeed the point, -2, -2.5. If you are at -3 and you count up a half, now you're at -2.5. And you can write that as 2.5. You can use decimals, I don't care. If he went up a half to get his focus, then he's gonna go down a half to get his directrix. Here's your vertex. If you come down a half, where are you gonna be? So it's -3.5, but you gotta have a letter with it. It's gotta be an equation. Y equals -3.5. That is exactly right. -3 down another half. -3.5. What's my focal width? 2. Perfect. Now we're gonna see how much you really understand it, because now we're gonna do it backwards. Now we have a situation where you are gonna write the equation. Okay? Now, the equation of a parabola, look at what I've got here, is something squared equals a number times something not squared. Would you agree that that is the format of these equations? Okay, so that's what we're shooting for. All right, so let's see what we've got here. What's our given? We have,
X plus 2y.
just a second. You might be right, I don't know. I have a focus at -2, 3. This is my focus now. That's my focus. And I have a vertex at 1, 3. Now, remember that your parabola opens from the vertex. So it's gonna open from this point. Now, which way is it gonna open? It's gonna go left. How do we know it has to go left? Focus is inside it. The focus is inside it. So isn't the only way that could possibly open is left? Now, stop right there. If it opens left, what do I know about my equation? Which letter is squared? Only one of them is squared. Y is squared. Also, since it opens left, won't this number be negative? When I get to that point, won't that number be negative? Because left is negative. Now, because I know the vertex, can I go ahead and fill in my parentheses? Okay, so what goes in the parentheses? What's gonna go here?
3 plus 3.
Y minus 3? Isn't it opposite? And this is gonna be x plus 1 plus 2 minus 1. That vertex would be at 1, 3. All throughout math. When you take numbers out of parentheses, they change sign. When you put them into parentheses, they change sign. Okay, everybody go with me so far? The only thing I don't know is what's that number. Now remember, that number is 4p. In my picture, isn't this p? What is that? How far is that? How far did I back up here? So that from here to here, how many back is that? 3? 3? So if p is 3, then 4p will be 12, and that number is negative 12. Wow. You guys are good. Let's finish these last two on this page. Or at least one of them. Let's see if we can get at least one of them done. Okay, so our job is to write the equation of the parabola. So before you start, remind yourself that a parabola is something squared equals a number times something not squared. That's what your equation is going to look like. Jose?
Yes.
You well?
Yes.
Okay, open those eyeballs now. Okay, so I'm going to look at what I have. I have a vertex at negative 1, 2. This is my vertex. And I have a directrix at y equals 6. Y equals, crosses the y-axis at 6. That's my vertex. Now, you need to be able to tell from that situation which way it opens. Down. Down. Remember, it wraps around its focus and away from the directrix. So if I went up to get to the directrix, then I have to go down to get to the focus. It's going to open down. If it opens down, tell me what you know about your equation. X is squared. And whatever this is will again be negative. Now we know our vertex is negative 1, 2. So this will be x plus 1 and y minus 2. The only thing left to figure out is p. Now, p is supposed to be this distance right here down to the focus. Shoot, I don't know the focus. But don't I know that however much I come down is the same as I go up? So how much did I go up? I went from this point up to where y is 6. So I went up 4. So p is 4. This number is 4p. So that'll be a negative 16. All right, you can pack it up. You can't get your phone yet. We'll get those on the way out.